Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome to our webinar on Islamic entertainment. All right, so I'll introduce our moderator today. He is Dr. Abdul Wahid Jalal Nori, who is an assistant professor at the International Islamic University Malaysia. And his interdisciplinary scholarship spans Islamic thought, political science, and future studies, with a particular focus on ethics, civilization, and reform. But before we start proper, shall we start with reciting Surah Al-Fatiha?
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
Okay, so I will hand it to you, Dr. Wahid, to moderate the sessions. There are 6 speakers, inshallah.
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen wa salatu wa salam ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Distinguished scholars, respected guests, colleagues, and students. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Welcome to the International Visual Seminar on the Future of the Islamic Entertainment. I'm Abdul Wahid from FITS Department, AHAS, IRKH. And I feel honored of serving as a moderator for this session. But before we start, I would like to begin, allow me to begin briefly place this seminar within the broader framework of the Vision 2077. This initiative was launched and was proposed in 2019 or 2018, under the leadership of Allah Yarham Professor Emeritus Tansri Muhammad Kamal Hassan, to envision the future of the Muslim Ummah as we approach the dawn of the 16th century Hijrah in 2007. So I was privileged to be invited by Prof to facilitate the future studies workshop for him for this vision 2077. So in the course of time, we had several major workshops for this vision. So we had 13 clusters and also many mini workshops for respective clusters. So we have, for example, cluster in economy, legal framework, education, leadership, government, Islamic unity, excellent relationship with the Muslim, with the non-Muslim, and also we have this Islamic entertainment. So, so today, this vision 2077 consists, as I mentioned, is 13 strategic clusters covering various dimensions of the Muslim civilizational development. So, Alhamdulillah, after years of workshops, consultations, and research, so the project has reached a significant milestone. So 3 volumes of the Vision 2077 report is now ready for publication. But due to the budget problem, we were not able to publish it. But Centuries already published the executive summary of the vision. And now I'm currently working on the summary of the executive summary of the vision to make the vision more accessible to the wider audience, because it's very thick and very informative, so I try to make it very simple to the wider audience. Inshallah, very soon will be also out for publication. So one of the most important cluster has been the Islamic entertainment, which is led by the Professor Emeritus Nur Farida through a series of workshops. And I remember, Prof, in your office that time when you were deputy rector, we had several mini workshops for this cluster. We had the discussions, we explored the central questions. I still record, how can entertainment become the vehicle for meaning, virtue, beauty, and also spiritual alleviation rather than the amusement. So today, this seminar continues that important conversations on entertainment. So as you can see, we have distinguished scholars joining us to enlighten us about this very important topic, very, very important. And I think this is the most important cluster, because nowadays every people are actually influenced by the Western entertainment industries. So how we can actually come up with a real Islamic, entertainment. Our first speaker, as you can see from the poster, is the leading, the leader for this cluster, Professor Emeritus Dr. Nur Farida. She is a former professor of the English literature at IIUM and the head of the Islamic Entertainment Future Studies Cluster, whose work explores the transformative role of literature, arts, and ethics in society. Her CV is very long. Is a very well-known scholar. So I just, to save the time, of course, he's a very well-known, so no need for me to read. Perhaps through her presentation, let's listen to her, what she can say, and then about this. And then we have also the second speaker, Associate Professor Aida, from the Department of Communication, IIUM. She is a leading scholar in the Islamic communication, advertising, and integrated marketing communication. So every time when I look at the website, or when some people mentioning the Department of Communication, of course, Prof. Aida come to our mind. Everybody knows her, you know. And also we have the third speaker for this session, Associate Professor Dr. Ramona Muhammad Tahir. He is a distinguished music educator, former dean of UITM Faculty of Music, and also scholar of music, education, and Islamic perspective on musical experience. It's very interesting professor we have. So each speaker for this session will be given 20 minutes for their presentation. After all presentations have concluded, we will open the floor for question and discussions. So without further ado, it is my pleasure to invite our first speaker, Professor Emeritus Dr. Nur Farida, to deliver her presentation entitled An Introduction to the History of the Islamic Entertainment in Malaysia, a Future Studies Perspective. Professor, the floor is yours.
Okay,
Thank
Dr.
you.
Wahid. Sorry, Prof. Dr. Wahid, can you please help share Prof's slides? I give it to you it's in your WhatsApp.
Why?
Can you? No, because I have to let people in.
Oh, okay.
So they trickle in, so I may have to stop your presentation and go, and so it's going to be it's going to be disruptive. So Dr. Wahid, I shared Prof. Nur Farida's slides. Can you please share it for her instead of me? Because I need to, because I'm the host, so I need to let people in.
Right.
Okay, sure.
Okay. Bismillah. While you do that, I will just do my intro, and then you can just share the to save time, the slides in a bit. All right. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum, everybody, and thank you, Dr. Wahid, for that very comprehensive, in a way, with the introduction to the cluster and also to Vision 2077. Now, my topic is, as mentioned, is on an introduction to the history of Islamic entertainment in Malaysia, a futures studies perspective. For those who are not familiar with this terminology, futures study, not future study, future studies, you may think like, oh, there must be a grammatical mistake. There's none, because future studies means the probable futures that we may have for any kind of discipline or study that you're looking in. It started as a military strategy post World War II, because they were trying to like move forward, after Second World War, what kind of future does the world need? So, but then it expanded later on into other disciplines, and in IIUM, we started to visualize what each discipline at the university will be, the 13 clusters that we have, what kind of future.
Can you see the slides?
It's still
Not yet.
present. No, not yet. Yeah. So
Not yet.
anyway, yeah. So we wait for that. Yeah. While he.
Okay. Now is it?
No.
Mhm.
Anyway, we will look at the introduction. Well, even if it doesn't work, yeah, the slide, I will just read what I have from the slide. Introduction. So as mentioned by Dr. Wahid, it is based on our research cluster and an article written by members. Okay, we can see you now.
Now it's okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you go to next one, please? Yeah, this one. Stop here, was. So these are the members of the research cluster on Islamic entertainment in Malaysia, aided by me, and then Associate Professor Dr. Aida Mokhtar and Professor Walid Fikri, who will be presenting in the second session. He now has moved to University of Nevada in the US, and Associate Professor Badri as well, will be presenting from Japan, because he's in Japan at the moment. That also, I think, in the second or this session, in the second, yeah, Aida, because I think in the poster, I think we put him in the first session. And we've got Law Professor Putri Nemi and Homam. Dr. Homam, I think he left IIUM, is a Syrian. And Dr. Adham also, I think, is a Syrian. I'm not sure whether he's still at IIUM. So we worked together and we came up with lots and lots of discoveries. And of course, there's a debate whether it's halal, haram, whatever. We also discussed that. Can you move on to the next focus? The next slide. Yeah, but the focus of this presentation would be first on the history of Islamic entertainment in Malaysia. That means we will go before independence and post-independence. And we're looking at from a future studies perspective. What is future studies? As I said, there are many approaches to future studies, but basically it explores different ways the future could evolve and assist us in planning more effectively today. It involves in looking at trends, future scenarios, risks and opportunities, and how we prepare for change. So basically it's what kind of future do we envision, yeah, for whatever that you are interested in. It could be your university, it could be the country, and so on and so forth. The key questions would be, can entertainment become a form of ethical and spiritual transformation? As we know entertainment as it is today, I think this takes very little value. But we come in and we will look at this in full focus, ethical, spiritual, value, yeah. How can it transform not only the field, but you as a creator, you as a consumer, and so on and so forth. So media and entertainment, as we well know, shape values. Whether you like it or not, it shapes perceptions, and also, more importantly, it shapes behavior. The cultivation theory will say, highlights that repeated media exposure shapes social reality. So be careful about what we see, what we expose our children to view and watch and listen to, because that will shape reality. There's a book on how exposure to pornography, for example, can damage the brain. Yeah. In language acquisition, 8 hours exposure of the language every day for 3 years will make you proficient in the language. So it's very important. Yeah. this exposure theory thing. Next, please. What is Islamic entertainment? A lot of people also disagree with labeling. Can there be Islamic entertainment? Can there be Islamic literature? But as in Islam, there's always a balance between beauty, creativity, and ethics. So we use this as a base. Yeah, entertainment that nurtures humanity and spirituality, anything that brings you closer to Allah. In fact, in one of the surah in the Quran, yeah, on the poets, anything that brings you close to Allah is permissible. Anything that takes you away from Allah is haram. So if you use that as a base, as a foundation to understand entertainment, I think it can be used as a guide. So we are not anti-entertainment, but we are anti-excess and moral erosion. So I think this is also rooted in the Islamic concept of wasatiyah, moderation. Everything done in moderation is good. Yeah, it's good. Next. Now, Islam views on beauty and art. Allah, we know, Allah is beautiful and loves beauty. And the Quran repeatedly celebrates beauty in nature and creation. There's a lot of examples of this in Al Quran. Beautiful voices, melodious Quranic recitation is appreciated in Islam. If you remember, Nabi Daud was given this. Yeah, he was given beautiful voice and he could play music. Although that element come from Israeliyat, that he plays the flute. I don't think it's in any hadith or whatever, but definitely the voice thing, yeah, is something that Allah gives to Nabi Daud. Art and aesthetics, historically part of Islamic civilization. If you go back to the golden age of Islam, how in every hospital there is a music department, yeah, used to cure certain kinds of ailments and diseases, asthma, anxiety, and it's coming back in the West. They think it's a new discovery. It's not. It's been there in our Islamic civilization and tradition. Next. Now, let's look at classical Islamic scholars and music. I have to bring this, although our focus is Malaysia, but you need to go back to history, to the roots of it in Islam, since we're talking about Islamic entertainment. So let's begin with Al-Kindi, who was known, he looked at music as mathematical science. In fact, if you learn music, all the mathematical thing is there, yeah? You go by bit, bit, bit. Now, Ibn Sina is another name. He looks at the philosophical dimension of music. In one reading that, in one article I wrote with few friends, that Ibn Sina uses baby lullabies, yeah, and how that shapes intelligence. So in the Malay culture, for example, we have this, what do you call that, lullaby? The dodoi thing from young, kan? So actually it has meaning actually. You're just not doing it for entertainment purpose. That there's a mathematical and philosophical dimension in that element. Apa dia panggil? Lagu apa? Lagu rakyat, not lagu rakyat. The dodoi thing, or even selawat, yeah, as you buy the baby and so on. Now look at Al-Farabi. Al-Farabi was among the first, yeah, to use music as therapy and the spiritual effects of sound. I can't go into that in details, but I think psychology department has got a book out on these classical Islamic scholars, but possibly looking at psychological aspect of it. But they are also relevant to other disciplines, yeah, not fully explored, even by my department, English literature, although some theses deal with perspective from Islamic scholars. Now, modern scholars also have started to look at ethical creativity and healing. I think in lecturers from UITM, they will deal on this later. Next, please. Now, pre-Islamic Malay entertainment, of course, yeah, you know that a lot of influences came from animistic and Hindu Buddhist influences. Traditional performances were linked to healing and ritual like Mak Yong, Main Putri, Ulik Mayang, and so on, although in later governments, especially in Kelantan, they banned Mak Yong and Main Putri, I think. And I think Kuda Kepang, I'm not sure in Johor. Yeah, I think there's a lot of write-ups on this. We will hear of this in later presentations by practitioners and lecturers of music and performances from UITM. Now, for sure, entertainment function communally and spiritually. Yeah, if you look at all these examples, they were meant for the community to cure and to heal. Next. Upon the arrival of Islam, or with arrival of Islam, yeah, in the Malay archipelago is from 11th to 14th centuries, could be earlier actually. Islamic elements merge gradually with local tradition. You've got introduction to Ghazal, Bezanji, Islamic storytelling. In Indonesia, you've got the Wali Songo thing, yeah, used for da'wah. And Hikayat Amir Hamzah became very influential. Next. Islamization of performing arts, as I mentioned, Wali Songo used arts as da'wah. Wayang Kulit was adapted for Islamic teachings, probably still is. Now, Islamization in the Malay world was very adaptive and negotiated. So we did not reject performing arts or entertainment, yeah, but you Islamicize them. So there's definitely a mix of local culture and Islamic values. Next. In modern Islamic entertainment in Malaysia, you'll see that in 1970s, I think this could be the effect of the Islamic revolution in Iran, where everybody started to think Islamic and so on. So Islamic resurgence influenced media and arts. And of course, by now, most of the Islamic countries are independent, yeah, from colonization. So we started to think about what's best for us. Now, Abin and Al-Arkam, whether you like it or not, yeah, Al-Arkam, it's very controversial. Whether you like it or not, Al-Arkam had contributed in promoting ethical and faith-based entertainment, right? They have their Nasheed group and so on. So there's a rise of contemporary Nasheed groups during this time and also into the 80s. There's growth of Islamic TV, radio, and digital material, yeah, from there on, from 1970s to especially now. Next. Examples of contemporary Islamic media, Raihan, Rabbani, Hijaz, there are more today, and in so many variation, yeah, Nasheed, modern, and so on, rap, and so on. So Islamic television, you've got Al-Hijrah, Astro Oasis, more programs on RTM along this line. Reality programs, you've got Imam Muda, Pencetus Ummah, and digital Islamic influences and online dakwah. A lot, yeah. And if you look at even animations, yeah, animated films, I think you see a lot of Islamic elements in this as well. Next. Now, a future studies perspective explores possible, probable, preferred futures. It's not prediction, but strategic thinking about change. we deal with technology, culture, economics, ethics, because they are all involved in current entertainment and definitely future entertainment. Next. There are 4 scenarios when you look at future studies. It would always involve these 4 future scenarios: preferred future, alternative future, current situation, and worst scenario. Preferred future, our cluster looks at it as Islamic entertainment becoming a major global influence by 2077. Why 2077? Is the turning of the next century of Hijrah, right, Dr. Abdul Wahid? Why
Yes,
we
Prof.
choose 2077? Yeah, it's the next century of our Hijrah year. Alternative future, it could be, it may not be major, but if it's significant, although not dominant, it's not too bad for us, you know. The current situation is that, you know, there's no real purposeful thinking to Islamic entertainment. I mean, people think of it in different ways. There's no one page to it. And we know that the industry struggles with funding and conflicting fatwas, haram, halal, allowed, permissible, you know. We are still dealing with this. And I don't think there's a one fatwa issue on this, yeah. The worst scenario is that it's a hedonistic entertainment dominating, particularly a concern for Muslim society. In fact, I think this is what's happening today in the Ummah, yeah, where we look at entertainment as fun. There's no real purpose. It doesn't really shape you, your akhlaq, and so on. So we don't want this. Next. The current challenges, although I think K-pop is not really in now, so is Bollywood, so is Hollywood. But I think the real challenge comes from streaming platforms. We talk about how TikTok, WhatsApp, X all limit our thinking because you only think in a narrow space of time, narrow language, narrow thoughts, yeah. And we spoke about this earlier, yeah, before we started, about this actually shrink your thinking, your intellectuality, because you're given small space to express yourself. Industrial 5.0 and AI-driven media, but in recent weeks, in recent months, there's a lot of criticisms against AI, yeah, against data centers, against how corporations that fire their human workers are now begging for them to come back because the robots and the machines can't really do the work. That's happening now, yeah. We also deal with issues on piracy and intellectual property rights, especially if you're dealing with AI. Yeah, there's one trainer of AI said she has been training AI for 5 years. From the inside story is that AI is bad news. It's thief. It steals people's intellectual property rights and so on and so forth. Now, so in short, yeah, there is a need for quality content and ethical creativity. Next.
Prof,
Yeah.
I think you got 2 minutes more.
Okay, next, please.
Yeah.
Vision, you know, just read it quietly. It's to be a sustainable Islamic creative. We hope that there'll be more schools, academic programs on Islamic entertainment. There should be cross-cultural, compassionate entertainment that educates while inspiring creativity. I mean, this is not new. Even Shakespeare said to educate and to delight. Same concept here. Shakespeare may have borrowed it from us anyway. Next. So conclusion, nicely. So the issue is not whether Muslims should engage with entertainment. The real question is what kind of entertainment shapes future generations. So Malaysia, I think, stands at the intersection of faith, culture, media, and future thinking. Thank you. I'm done.
Thank you very much, Prof. Now we have, just let me share the Prof. Aida's presentation. Can you see the presentation, Prof?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
The Prof. Aida, can you see your?
Yes, I can.
All right. So our second speaker is Prof. Aida from the Department of Communication, has RKHS. So her topic will be on the Islamic perspective of entertainment. Prof, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Okay, now I'll be talking on, inshallah, the Islamic perspective of entertainment. Of course, I'm very much into Islamic advertising, Islamic marketing, and so forth. So Islamic entertainment sort of goes on the same page. Okay, next, please. Now, why entertainment matters? Entertainment is not merely a pastime. It is one of the most powerful forces shaping modern civilization. From the stories we watch to the music we hear, media content influences how individuals think, feel, and behave. So for Muslim communities and scholars alike, understanding the force is not optional. It is a moral and intellectual responsibility. Of course, entertainment has a lot of effects. So we need to be very concerned in communication. I'm from the Department of Communication, and we often talk about media effects, and we're very concerned. In fact, yesterday we had a meeting with the Secretary General of IIIT, and I was telling him that, in communication, practitioners have to understand that there are effects. There are media effects, there are content effects, there are movie effects, there are advertising effects, and we do not want to have, impact audiences in a negative manner. So we have the whole idea of entertainment shaping society, defining cultural norms. We learn from entertainment, and collective values, coming from the different cultures. The sort of values that they practice will be reinforced through movies, for example, influences youth. So this is very dangerous, of course. Youth like to watch movies, like to be entertained. So they need to be entertained and impacted in the correct way. Powerful tool for communication, persuasion, and provides, the whole idea of the wholesome lifestyle. Healthy creative expressions should be encouraged. Okay, next. So understanding entertainment, it is for enjoyment, relaxation, or amusement. We listen to music, we watch films, gaming, to social media, literature, performing arts, performance arts. And there are several types of entertainment, so we can't really run away from them. And Islam does not ban them, actually. What is important is that they have to be good entertainment. They have to reinforce moral values, because there are effects. And as you can see, there's so many social ills happening. We wonder whether these social ills have been born as a result of negative entertainment, for example, because our younger generation are obviously accessible. They're accessing social media, TikTok videos and whatnot, and it's very concerning. Okay, next. The Islamic worldview is important to understand. I notice that whenever I speak to, well, there's some practitioners out there who think that advertising, for example, of course, advertisements are mini movies, aren't they? Some of them. So when I speak to some of them, they are more into followers, for example, getting a lot of followers, selling products. But some, not everyone, of course, do not realize that the content can be very dangerous, right? You don't put a scantily dressed woman in an ad, in an advertisement, or in movies to attract the audience, for example. That's not what you do, because you've got to project a modest, a highly dignified person, a woman. So Islam does not concede to the dichotomy of the sacred and profane. The worldview of Islam encompasses both al-dunya and al-akhirah. Perhaps some of us have forgotten that we are working towards achieving eternal goodness in the hereafter. So some of us, of course, including myself, we need to be reminded of this, of course, on this blessed day of Friday. So at-tawhid as an Islamic worldview, through there's no God but God, should always be reinforced, right? Through the entertainment content, through these stakeholders, the practitioners have to understand that this is what we are looking at the very core of our creative content production. Islam is about completely surrendering to and obeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and is comprehensive. So we need to understand that we need to apply Islam. It's not a separate religion per se, but it is a way of life. Okay, next. Okay, the Islamic view on entertainment. Okay, there is a common misconception that Islam is puristic in its view of all entertainment and leisure. In reality, Islamic scholarship affirms the human need for rest, joy, and creative expression. We need to have entertainment that's guided, not rejected. We need to do everything within a particular ethical framework. And we need to balance dunya and akhirah. We can't simply focus on dunya, for example. Yeah. So this kind of balance needs to be projected, as we produce our entertainment. Okay, next. There's beauty in Islam. Of course, Prophet Farida also spoke about beauty. And indeed, Allah is beautiful and He loves beauty. So the appreciation of beauty, the appreciation of creative content and whatnot. So it's deeply embedded in the Islamic worldview. So Allah Himself is described as beautiful and as one who loves beauty. And creativity, artistic expression, and aesthetic refinement are not frivolous. They are reflections of the divine gift of human consciousness and imagination. There's so much profoundness, so much depth in creativity from the Islamic perspective. But whether this has been captured and understood as such by our current generation is something, by our current audiences, is something that we need to reflect upon. So entertainment, when crafted with beauty and purpose, becomes an act of gratitude and a means of inspiring goodness. So the Quran's eloquence, the azan's melody, and the tradition of beautiful recitation all testify to Islam's embrace of aesthetic excellence. Okay, next. So the Quran recognizes that Allah has created lawful pleasures and adornments for human beings. So the Quran says, say who has forbidden the adornment of Allah, which He has produced for His servants, and the good things of provision. Aisha bin Abdul Bakr, peace be upon her, reported that she watched Abyssinians performing spear displays in the mosque while the Prophet, peace be upon him, stood with her and allowed her to watch. So entertainment recreation are allowed in Islam, guided recreation. Okay, next. Okay, the Muslim scholars and the arts, of course, this was also focused on by Prof. Farida. So we can't deny that entertainment, recreation, and music and so forth, they're all acceptable. Okay, next. And entertainment today, okay, a bit concerned with the fact that we have secular, individualistic, and commercially driven Western cultural values being embedded in our current entertainment. And you can see that perhaps there are audiences amongst us, Muslim audiences, who are more aware of Taylor Swift, Olivia Rodrigo, Westlife is of course more to my generation, is coming next year, I heard. So, we are very much, we are aware of these bands, these groups, but where is, and of course, we realize that there are values which they don't, which are individualistic, for example, and as Muslims, we are collectivistic. So obviously there is a contradiction in terms of the cultural values, but where are the alternatives? Yeah, from the Muslim, from the Islamic perspective. So there should be alternatives at the same level of Taylor Swift, or even better, so for us to attract the younger audience. So this, I feel, there's a vacuum in terms of this. Where are our nasheed groups? How come they're not doing concerts as much as Taylor Swift is doing in her Eras tour, where she was going all around the world and adding concerts, all the time, because there was so much demand for her concerts and they were willing to pay a lot of money for it. How come from the Islamic perspective, from the Muslim perspective, we don't have something comparable? Okay, next. So there are positive and negative impacts of entertainment. We need to be aware of this. And we, as content creators, as film directors, as script writers, everyone involved in the making of entertaining content, we need to be aware that there are positive and negative impacts. So there's a lot of reflection that happens. And we do want, as much as we can, for all the impacts to be positive, because we realize that people's realities, their perceptions of realities would be impacted. What they adopt as being, the right values would be, adopted as a result of watching these movies or entertainment. Okay, next. And entertainment and youth. So there's a lot, of course, of screen time exposure at the moment. So it's very concerning, right? Celebrity influence. There are internet addicts, of course. In China, you even have rehabs for internet addiction. So this is how concerning it is. Yeah, there are influencers. We were talking about influencer marketing. There's celebrities that influence, encourage us to purchase products. They have followers and they promote products. For example, you have celebrities who will influence others, so they need to be good examples. So we are aware that this is happening, but what kind of celebrities? We need to have guidelines, for example, for celebrities. And there are. Jakim has come up with entertainment guidelines, but to what extent have we followed them is another thing. To what extent do they understand the importance of following them? Identity formation, we can construct our own identity as a result of seeing the ideals through entertainment. Okay, next.
2 minutes, Prof.
Islamic entertainment is not simply entertainment produced by Muslims. It's content intentionally crafted to uphold Islamic ethics, nourish the spirit, and contribute positively to individuals in society, regardless of medium. So there are implicit and explicit forms of Islamic entertainment. I feel there are symbols that are more explicit. The mosque, hijab, for example, and all kinds of by putting sunnah, for example, mentioning sunnah in movies and in entertainment. Those are more explicit, but they're also implicit ways of communicating Islam without being obvious. Okay, next. Examples of Islamic entertainment. We have nasheed industry. What's happening to this industry? Lately we've been seeing Fauziah Latif, isn't it? And the Malaysian artist who's been doing who did her concert recently after so long. And then we had Nurul Det, isn't it? Yeah, who did her concert recently. So we have Malaysian artists, but where are the nasheed groups? Yeah, so Islamic animation as well is very important to attract the younger audience. And Muslim digital creators, they need to be ethical. Muslim digital creators who are aware, who create content wisely. because they understand there are negative effects. So they don't want these negative effects to happen. Okay, next. So there are challenges, of course. We talk about the ideals, but of course it's their challenges, as in a smaller market influence. We're not exactly Hollywood, isn't it, right? We don't have Hollywood over here or in other Muslim countries, divergent scholarly opinions. There's several opinions. So there needs to be some kind of shura or some kind of discussion happening as well. Industry growth barriers, yeah, due to several factors, financial, for example, intense media competition. Of course, all media vehicles are fighting for audiences. There's so many. There's a media explosion. Okay, next. There are several theories. Prof. Nafarida mentioned, I think cultivation theory, social learning theory, right? Where we learn from the actors and actresses that are found in movies. We have framing theory, where movies present specific perspectives as well. So we need to make sure that these perspectives are correct, the right ones. Okay, next. And there are several opinions, of course. There's also this spectrum, which is concerning the strict view, moderate view, contemporary scholarship. There was one professor who told me that watching movies is not like the air you breathe, to that extent, which means it seems to be a very strict view, or even banning movies altogether. That's not how it should be, really, I feel. But we need to talk about this so that we come with something that is balanced and ideal for our current situation. Wasatiyah, of course, the path of moderation. We should not be extreme, avoid extremes. We need to be balanced in our approach of adopting ideals. We need to appreciate the fact that the creative industry is very big, and it's got all sorts of people working there, and we need to respect their roles, and yet we need to slowly guide them for the betterment. Okay. And future scenarios by 2077, of course, we do want the best scenario to be painted, to be developed. So we need to think about what to do next quickly, so that we have the best kind of entertainment for our future generations. We're not going to be on Earth forever, but our future generations will be around, and they need to be accessible to good Islamic entertainment. Okay, next. So the preferred future is where we have high quality productions, international recognition. So it's not only for Muslims, but it's the whole idea that Islam is universal, hence Islamic entertainment should also be universal. So strong creative economy, we need to develop this, we need to appreciate the industry, and positive societal influence needs to be encouraged. Okay. So Muslim media professionals have a very important role, of course, to ensure that they go by the Quran and Sunnah, right? We can encourage the non-Muslims to go by moral values, of course, that that are common to all of us. Okay, next. So there are
Prof,
opportunities as
I
well.
think, Prof, time is
All right. Finishing up,
Okay.
There's several opportunities in digital media. Okay, next. And okay, so conclusion, there's a lot to think of when we talk about entertainment and the creative industry and the entertainment industry. So we need to, as academicians, we need to talk about the ideals and encourage, of course, the industry to adopt the ethical guidelines. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Thank you, Dr. Wahid.
Okay. Thank you for both Prof. Farida and also Prof. Aida for very informative presentations. So now we are approaching the last speaker for this session, Associate Professor Ramona Muhammad Tahir. He will be talking about sustaining music in Islam beyond labels. So, Prof. Is he around?
I saw her just now.
Okay.
Dr. Ramona, are you still here? Because I saw, yeah, she's coming in. Okay. All right, she's in. She in. Yes. Okay, Dr. Ramona. Okay, Dr. Ramona, where are you?
Yes, I'm here. Sorry, I was
Yeah.
there and then I left. I suppose
Oh.
I got yeah, I had to exit, I suppose. Yeah. My
Okay.
internet is not so reliable.
I see.
Actually it's the computer. But anyway, I'm here. So
Thank you.
I shall do I share my screen?
Yes, please.
Yeah, please.
Okay, you can see my screen now.
Yeah, we can see your screen.
All right, thank you. All right, okay. Now I won't be able to see you, but because I have to manage my slides. Assalamualaikum and good morning, Prof. Farida, Prof. Aida, and Prof. Abdul Wahib, and all colleagues here this morning. It's a pleasure to be with you. I'd like to congratulate you for organizing this event. In fact, I was quite interested to see that you are wanting to speak about Islamic entertainment. So anyway, I have a few. I don't know what happened to the computer just now, but I had at the inopportune moment I had to leave, or I was exited. I don't know, but anyway, my academic background is music education. So basically, I'm very much focused on the teaching and learning of music. So my interest in investigating the status of music in Islam began in 1987 during my interview to join then ITM, Institute Technology Mara. Now it's University Technology Mara, of course. So during the interview, I was asked why I wished to devote my life and career in the field of music, which is haram or forbidden in Islam. So I remember being flabbergasted, quite
Sorry,
flabbergasted.
Dr. Prof. Ramona, can you just lower your screen so that we can see your full face? Is that okay? Because we're only seeing half of you.
Oh, I see. So
Is
maybe
that
it's
okay?
um,
Yeah, that's
maybe I
better.
just
That's
have
better.
to,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah. Or
Right.
just sit back. Thank
Okay.
you.
So as I was saying, so I remember that I was quite flabbergasted, in fact, quite amazed that something as basic as music would be considered forbidden in Islam. So I decided then that I would take it upon myself to investigate music in Islam. And that opportunity only came 7 years later when I was doing my PhD. And by then, of course, I had had some experience in Malaysian music education, both as an administrator, head of department, etc. Enough experience, I think, to understand Malaysian music education and how the status of music in Islam actually affect the teaching of learning of music, not only at our university, but also in schools, public schools especially. So there are two components to my title: sustaining music in Islam and beyond the labels. So by sustaining music in Islam, I refer to the theme of this forum, which focuses on the future of Islamic entertainment, of which music is a component, of course. I approach the sustainability of music in Islam from the perspective that music is a basic human need and is is an important component of all human life. So everyone, all humans have to have music in their lives, and we can see that from, with our young children, newborns, and there've been a lot of research or in the area of music education on, in fact, music education for the child in the womb. So in fact, okay, in terms of beyond the labels, back to my topic, I posit that the sustainability of music in Islam depends on our ability to look beyond music being entertainment to the other more substantial benefits of music's existence in human life. In fact, promoting music as merely entertainment might actually be detrimental to the status of music and subsequently its sustainability. So I hope I can delineate this in my short presentation. Okay, so in this presentation, I will highlight 2 points on the discussion of the status of music in Islam. I will attempt to define entertainment and consider music being labeled as an Islamic entertainment. I will also ponder if Islamic music is the music of Islam or musics which have emerged from Muslim cultures. I shall ponder also if Islamic music refers to all musics which are consonant in Islam. Lastly, I shall try to bring all of the above together into a semblance of conclusion true to my topic. Defining entertainment. Okay, sorry, I'm thinking that I think I might have virus now. Can I just hang on?
Do you want us to help? Do you want somebody to help you?
Yes.
Slides?
Okay.
Can
Right.
you just
Because
WhatsApp it then?
the slide actually skipped itself. So I think I should manage it this way rather than in a slideshow, right? Yeah.
Prof, if you just present to us without the slides, will be better to save the
But
time.
I think you need to,
Yeah.
you need to look at the slides too. But anyway, I shall present it this way and not the slideshow, so
Okay.
that I can manage it just in case it skips.
Okay.
So now music in Islam, so there's a lot to say, but I'm just going to focus on this too. So despite the rich musical traditions and popularity of music in all Islamic cultures, the status of music in Islam is deeply contested. So views range from prohibition to conditional permissibility, depending on the school of thought, interpretation of scripture, hadith literature, and context. So strong objections against music are primarily based on the believed conflict between music and the values and beliefs of Islam. So some ulama and fuqaha consider music to be a useless pastime, which sometimes became an urge to commit actions which were unlawful. Music, according to them, leads towards or is associated with unlawful activities such as the consumption of alcohol, fornication, adultery, and the like. A second important point to highlight with regards to my presentation topic and the status of music in Islam is that there is, in the first place, no term or concept in Arabic that can be equated to music in the Western sense. So for Westerners and other English speakers, the term music often refers to the combination of vocal and instrumental sounds and tones, which form a wider variety of structurally, aesthetically, and emotionally satisfying expressions of a culture's underlying belief system. This is quoting Al-Faruqi, 1985. Thus, music, according to this definition, would include all forms of oral aesthetic expression, regardless of the context or function of their performance. Now, such a term does not exist in Arabic, such a term as music as understood in the Western sense. And so, consequently, the discourse regarding music in Islam has seen the use of various terminologies such as sama, musica, well, basically sama and musica, and also some other terms as well. And these are genres which are said to have disreputable and questionable status in Islamic culture. So for lack of an Arabic term to equate with music, the late Louis Lamia Al-Faruqi suggested the use of the all-encompassing term of Handasah al-Sawt, which is Arabic for the art or artistic engineering of sound. So Al-Faruqi also put forth a table of Handasah al-Sawt genres, indicating the priority and standing of each genre in the Islamic world, of which musika genres are labeled as controversial and low in the hierarchy. Yeah, it's jumping. So this is the Handasah al-Sawt. It was promoted and published in 1985. I believe colleagues from UIA are familiar with her. She was the wife of the late Ismail Al-Faruqi, I think, who advised in the formation of UIA back in the 80s. So as you can see from the table, the legitimate or halal sound art genres, since we're talking about, or since I mentioned the problem with terminology, so most of us prefer to refer to music as sound art, which is actually more, I suppose, all comprehensive, rather than music per se. Because as you can see here, the legitimate on the right hand side, you have legitimate or halal music that's deemed halal in Islam, and then you can see right at the very top of this, sorry it's a bit blur, is Quranic chant, and then the religious chants, the azan, etc., chanted poetry, and this is again from the Arabic world, and it was done by proposed by Al-Faruqi. And you can see, interestingly, on the left, that these all these genres, which are considered to be legitimate or halal, are considered to be non-musica. And then you can see now a bit clearer at the bottom, on the bottom right side, the controversial musical genres or sound art genres, halal, mubah, makruh, haram, even haram. And right at the bottom, you can see illegitimate or haram genres, musical genres. And then on the left side, you can see that all the controversial and illegitimate musical genres are labeled as musika. So it's difficult to have a discourse on music in Islam when the terminologies, when there is an issue with the use of terminology in the first place. Okay, so then now we go to defining entertainment. So I looked up the dictionaries, so it's quite interesting. I think these are some of the definitions which I found. So basically, the synthesis of the dictionary definition suggests that entertainment involves providing pleasure, amusement, or enjoyment to an audience. So engaging attention or interest through activities, performances, I think that's straightforward. Being delivered through various forms, that's also straightforward. Functioning as an activity or process intended to entertain people, not merely a product or performance. And then, of course, I had to Google entertainment. And then this comes up as the first entry of 17,400 entries, I think, when defining entertainment. So it's the action of providing or being provided with amusement or enjoyment. So then I asked the question here, and we can think about it. So based on these definitions, music is Islamic entertainment. So some concerns with Islamic entertainment, the label. So there's no fixed Islamic category. In fact, when we think about, or some of us, when we think about Islamic entertainment, we think only about nasheed. So in fact, if you go, well, nowadays you can't go into a music shop where you can actually look at all the CDs and there's a label, because nobody buys CDs or anything like that. Everything is online. Anyway, so there's no category and in music, in the field of music, which is labeled which you can call in Islamic entertainment. So next is the risk to music education. So since my area is music education, we believe, or we are worried that prioritizing entertainment shifts the focus from music and music education's benefits, and there are plenty, to consumption, to merely consumption. So potentially reducing the study of music. Then the debate on music itself. So while some fatwas permit music as non-transgressive, others caution against instruments. When people say that music is haram, the source of that rule or that verdict actually comes from hadith, which puts the use of musical instruments along with the consumption of wine, alcohol, and fornication, and men wearing silk. So we wish to, if we promote music as entertainment, as Islamic entertainment, basically it will amplify the scrutiny on the very fragile status of music in Islam. So ignoring its role in other ways that complement Islam, the values and the worldview of Islam. So then I mentioned just now Handasa al-Saud. So the likelihood that the musics which we label or deem to be entertainment might actually fall in the category of musika, which are controversial or illegitimate. So these are some of the concerns. Okay. More labels. Let me see whether I'm in the right slide. Yeah, I got 2 more slides to go.
Prof, you have 2 more minutes.
Oh, I can finish this. So there are more labels, and you can see here. So I spoke in length about Islamic entertainment, but maybe we need to think about what is Islamic music. Also music, is it the same as music emerging from Muslim cultures? Are those two the same as musics which are consonant with Islam? So of course, as you can see here from the screen, I think of them as 3 different entities. So I think we need to be more specific in our discussion and our discourse. What exactly are we talking about and thinking about? Okay, so some thoughts. These are my conclusions. So portraying music as primarily Islamic entertainment may not be the best path for sustaining music, since we're talking about sustaining music for the future. So may not be the best path for sustaining music and music education in our communities. So music's real power is beyond entertainment, in learning, creativity, emotional skills, even spiritual growth. So labeling music as entertainment risks reducing it to optional fun, like pop culture, which harms long-term engagement. So is that truly Islamic entertainment? So for sustainability, we should, I think the way to go is to advocate music as a universal tool and align with Sharia for pedagogy and not just leisure activities. So positioning music, I'm just going to read this so that it's faster, right? Positioning music as a vital tool for cognitive, emotional, and cultural development, rather than fleeting entertainment, which undermines sustainability by prioritizing short-term enjoyment. In musical experience from an Islamic perspective, I interviewed ulama in Malaysia, and also music educators and administrators. Interviewees agree that it is not the labeling of Islam which is important to Islamize the curriculum, but the observance of Islamic values and principles in the entire music program, the school curriculum, and life in general of all Muslims. And off to my last slide. So concluding statements. Entertainment is only one of the benefits of music. So the other more substantial benefits of music health, education, emotional, etc., and more recent results of more recent neuroscience researchers should be highlighted. Positioning music as entertainment hinders long-term viability for music and music education. Positioning music as Islamic entertainment will threaten the sustainability of music in Islam. So to sustain music in Islam, I suggest to promote music and values of music which are consonant to the values and worldview of Islam. So explore Islamically consonant musics. So which might not be Muslim music that comes from Muslim cultures. So music is a spiritual tool. Lastly, the words of Al-Ghazali, music is a spiritual tool, permissible if it inspires yearning for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not if it promotes sin or distracts from worship. So the love of Quran and love of music can coexist only if music directs toward God. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Prof, for a very interesting topic for your presentation. And please, dear audience, bear with us. We now move to the second sessions. Due to the time limits, we keep the discussions for the after the second sessions. So for the second sessions, we bring together, of course, again, distinguished scholars and practitioners from diverse backgrounds in culture, music, spirituality, education, and Islamic thought. So their presentation hopefully will help us explore how entertainment can contribute to preserving heritage and enriching contemporary Muslim societies. So our first speaker is Muhammad Kamarul Bari Hussein, better known as Kamarul Hussein, a renowned traditional musician, cultural practitioner, and also educator and researcher specializing in Kelantanese performing arts and Malaysian cultural heritage. I assume he is from Kelantan. So he will be presenting about preserving traditional arts and cultural heritage in contemporary entertainment. The floor is yours. Mr. Kamarul,
Okay.
are you here?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me share my my slide. Share.
If you can finish it within 10 minutes will be great, so that we can have discussions and engagement with the audience.
Yeah, we'll be fast.
Yeah. All right.
Should be
Okay.
Inshallah. Share entire screen. Okay. I cannot share. Okay. Allow share. I cannot share. Context. Slide.
Would you like to share your slides with Dr. Wahid? Maybe he can share them. In the group.
In the group.
Yeah, in the WhatsApp group.
Save as. Save as. PowerPoint. Window entire.
It can be entire screen it's fine. Entire screen or window. If you have the PowerPoint open, maybe it can be window, but entire screen is fine. And then you just choose your PowerPoint slides.
Okay, might be I can save as I think PDF. My computer cannot see. Wait, Screenshot. Bismillah. Yeah.
Can you present it without the PowerPoint?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
That will be better. You
Yeah,
can see your
maybe.
face.
I have the I try to save as my slide as PDF. Secret PX. PDF.
You just read je lah, tak Cik Kamarul.
Okay.
Nanti you can send the slide later to us.
I can send it now. No. Send to the group, the WhatsApp,
Yeah.
Share entire
Yeah.
string. I
Yeah.
cannot share. Okay. Can you see?
No.
We just see your screen.
Boleh
You
nampak my screen? Can you see my screen?
You need to I think you need to click the share the entire screen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they will see you.
Oh yeah.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Okay. Sorry. This is my new MacBook. All right. Okay. Assalamualaikum and good morning to all of you. To all the speakers and then to all students. My name is Muhammad Kamrul Bahri bin Hussein. This morning I would love to share about an introduction of DK Barat as Islamic Entertainment, a case study of a group called Sri Halakah group from Kelantan. Okay, so this is the Imam Ismail bin Muhammad, known as Tok Imam Pa, who served as a senior imam of Masjid Al-Qasimi in Parit Lama, Pasir Tumbuh, Kota Baru, Kelantan. So I meet him. I'm lucky to meet him last 2 weeks actually. It's quite busy with performance, and also because of the Raya Haji at the same time. So this is the group of the picture group from Halakah Dikir Barat. They from the left, actually the bigger picture is the musical instruments. Later I will show the better picture that I make with the same instruments. And then on the right top, the picture with the group of Dikir Barat with the late Guru Ni Aziz Nikmat. And then bottom the performance, bottom picture is actually where the performance involve interactive with the audience. Okay, so basically this is my abstract. It's quite long, so might be I no need to read lah. So I will send this slide so that you can see. So can you all see? Okay, basically Dikir Barat is a prominent traditional performing arts of Kelantan, Malaysia, that has undergone a various adaptation to remain relevant within contemporary Malay Muslim society. While previously study have been focused on cultural performance practice, but before that they are not. The Dikir Barat have been involved with many style of performing depending to the popularity. Because of those days, the Dikir Barat has been performed not only for entertainment, but also they are creating entertainment for the groups, or for the person who understand the belief in God. For example, I campur-campur boleh ya sikit lah. So the word that I not really familiar. Not only Dikir Barat, but for the traditional authentic music or theatre, traditional theatre in Kelantan, they are actually connecting with understanding mengenal diri and also mengenal Tuhan. So they are not only perform or perform for only entertainment. So that's where also where the Dikir Barat involve develop more and more innovations, and then what at the one time the Dikir Barat have a climate innovation where they are langgar the rules because of the popularity. So they put women singers, and then they do also using a language that is not so very good. Perkataan-perkataan is not Islamic way of perkataan lucah lah, something like that. So because of they want people go into the performance. Because of those time when I was young, I still remember the Dikir Barat they do in the field, then they cover with the guni, so that anybody want to go and see the performance, they have to pay duit, macam duit tiket lah, about 10 sen. Those days I still remember 20 sen. So that's one of the sumber rezeki lah, one of the income for the practitioners those days lah. Okay, so the topic that I want to share is actually where I found one of the alternative because of when the state governments banned the Dikir Barat, not only Dikir Barat those days, there's a lot of others art form where there's not many researcher or penggiat or tokoh or where they have a proper explanations about what it's actually all about. It's not only about the performance, entertainment, but it's also other things. But that's not been done by a proper researcher or a proper tokoh. Okay, for this one, I figure out the Sri Halakah groups actually has been introduced a new Dikir Barat, a contemporary traditional Dikir Barat, where they try to change, they try to innovate the performance style so that they are able to perform, and not only perform, but the main purpose for them is actually to do a dakwah, to do to tell any news about really agama lah, for to young generation and also to public. Okay, so this is actually a tension of traditional in Kelantan, where the do and don't, the halal and haram, because of the lack of understanding and lack of researching, explaining about what is behind of the entertainment itself, the traditional entertainment itself. Okay. The heritage, actually, the foundation of symbol of Kelantanese identity, historical rooted entertainment. So where the traditionally craft, for example, in Dikir Barat, originally we have 5 instruments. Sometimes they also relate with the number. So, for example, 5 refer to 5 time prayer, 5 waktu, 5 rukun Islam. So they are trying already. They try to create the sebab why actually it's not only just performance. Then for the friction public performer face restrictions due to element of perceiving as a contrary to local religion regulations because of the lyric and satire and mixed genre that's participating for those days lah. So then that's where the Sri Halakah came and do solutions of the performance of Dikir Barat. The founder of the groups is actually Tok Imam Pa. He is actually a senior imam of Masjid Al-Kasimi lah. Endorsement by the late Menteri Besar Tuan Guru Ni Abdul Aziz lah. So that's where they try to elevate from local experiment. That means they are introducing not only in the state of Kelantan or the Kelantan area, when they have events, performance, that they also go across Malaysia and also Southern Thai. Okay, so I have a video, so I will share at the end if we have time. Okay, so this is basically that I found out where concept of philosophy, education's objective and culture meaning driving the performance, behavior, the actions, special dynamic costume and social interaction of performer and audience, where these three triangle thing, the number three is sound, and then the musical element, vocal style, rhythmic pattern, and instrumentation. These three things that they are combining to become a Islamic Dikir Barat. Right. So this is Islam entertainment. We have 4 pillars. Pillar 1 is dakwah, propagations, shifting lyrical focus for humor and satire to faith, imam, worship, and relationship between humanity and Allah. Pillar 2, moral educations, and then pillar 3, social cohesion, and pillar 4, cultural preservation. So these 4 pillar is actually needed for the new thing. So next will be redefining the voice of Dikir Barat, where the group of Sri Halaka, they change.
Kamarul, is it possible within 1 or 2 minutes?
Yeah, can.
Yeah, because we are running out of time. Yeah.
Okay. They change the original on the left side, Tok Juara, they change to Tukang Syair, and then the Tukang Karut, they change to Tukang Pantun, and our awak still remain the same. So this is the, I fast forward, okay. So this is the musical instrument in Dikir Barat. So they have 5 instruments, where the gong, we have Rebana Ibu, Rebana Anak, Canang, and Romba. So these positions is actually related to each other. This is traditional sitting for awak-awak, where the traditional, they sit together and then focus on one. So where this is actually the philosophy of clapping together and then focus at one. That means one to Allah. Then the movement are free. That's not exactly choreographed. Right. This is the traditional one. This is contemporary sitting for Dikir Barat, where they are more on visual, showing to other people. So dalam bahasa Melayu, this one's already dah membuat pertunjukan ke arah yang keakuan, maksudnya menunjuk. It's not about you are doing something for Allah, something like that. Okay, so so this is the audience of active learning that I got from the research that I have done. Okay, and then preserving so this is the instruments. I think I already showed the instrumentations. Okay, and then go to syncretism of sound. Okay. Okay, this one the same thing. Diagnostic matrix of transformations, where traditional Dikir Barat, Tok Juara, Sri Halaka, Islamic model, Tukang Syair, improviser or Tukang Karut, Tukang Pantun. Lyric, they change to the dakwah lyric. Melody, they are doing local Malay melody, and also some of the traditional also have a few soloists that they are using the Arabic and Hindustani makam, but not many are focused on that. But for the halakah, they are using Arabic Hindustani makam or melody, because of the Kelantanese suka Hindustan, they love the Hindustan. And then the costume, they are using a Malay traditional costume. Then for the halakah, they are using the more to Islamic costume, like jubah, kain sarung, kain pelikat, and baju Melayu, and kopiah, and turban. Okay. So I think that's all. The blueprint for the future of tradition. This is actually one of the choices that we have in Kelantan to perform a Dikir Barat with a special a permit, and also we can sell the ticket. And then all the for now we cannot do a proper concert that selling the ticket in Kelantan. So that makes the Dikir Barat will be distinction from the traditional way. But for the halakah, they still have the element of traditional. They add on the Islamic song, lyric, and sometimes melody also. They take from the traditional melody, and then take from the Hindustan melody, but they change the lyric. So with that, actually, the Dikir Barat still alive. Then that's involved not only the practitioner, but also the maker of the instrument. That means in school also they have the competition, and then they can do also other types of performance involve the Dikir Barat. But basically, for me, personally, I'm a practitioner of Dikir Barat. My late father is actually an instrument maker. So where we are still surviving, if this art form, Dikir Barat, or now I'm pursue my PhD for wayang kulit, Kelantan, and where I need to explore, to introduce more on the other side of Islamic, so that we can still perform and still preserve the art form that has been quite long time. And then not only the performance part, but for the traditional way, also have the Islamic philosophy, where not many researcher or not many practitioners understand about how to explain to the government, so that they are aware of this. I think that's all from me.
Okay,
I'm so sorry because of yeah.
Thank you very
Okay.
much, Engineer Kamarul, and thank you very much. Very good presentation. Appreciate if you can unshare the screen, so that our next speaker is Professor Badri Najib Zubair. He was the former dean of the Ahas KHS IUM, and he's a distinguished scholar of Arabic language, Islamic studies, and also Quranic discourse. So his presentations is entitled Entertainment as a Means of Cultural and Moral Education. Since he is not with us today, he just sent us his video. I'm going to play out. So let me share the screen. Can you see it?
Yes,
Okay.
but it's not clear. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Now it's better.
Now can you see the presentation?
Yeah. We can't hear it. You need to choose the tab where the video is. You cannot choose the entire thing.
How about now?
No sound.
No.
Do you hear his voice?
No.
Or I think I need to download the video first.
Should we move to the next speaker first?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay. Our third speaker is the Dr. Walid Faris, Professor Walid Faris, our good friend, and he's accomplished professor in engineering and author of and scholar whose interests span the science, spirituality, history of ideas, and religion. He will be presenting on spirituality and entertainment. Can modern media alleviate the human soul? And I had the pleasure, of course, writing 2 books with him. So he's my mentor, my scholar. So, Prof, the floor is yours. Good to see you.
Good to see you also, Dr. Abdulwahid, and thank you very much, Prof. Farida and Dr. Aida, for the kind invitation. I think everybody can see the presentation, or any problem with the...
Yes, we can see.
Okay. Okay. In fact, maybe some people will question why I'm here. I'm not going to talk about the details of the music. I'm not going to talk about also the legal issues about entertainment and other things. But what I'm going to focus on is a different dimension, which is actually part of the Islamic heritage, very essential part of Islamic heritage. Islam always, since the beginning, and actually even all religion, but Islam stressed on this fact, that there is a kind of a duality between form and spirit. Form and spirit. So when Allah created Adam, he created in a certain form and he blew into him. And also when we try to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so there is a kind of a form, which is the prayers in its form, but there is a spirit of the prayers. This why some people used to call the prayers Mi'raj al-Mu'min. It's the way to ascend to Allah through the prayer. So when we talk about Islamic art in general, this is the same concept. So this is how Islam actually envisioned the arts in general, And this is very important to understand, because this is how things are for this part. Of course, I prepared a bit of a long presentation, but I will try to cut it short, because I thought the time will allow me to talk about everything. But anyway, don't worry, Dr. Abdulwahid, I'll try to keep the time. No issue. Let's talk about the foundation of this. So, Islamic aesthetic, which is the theory behind all Islamic arts. It's kind of a transcendental concept to the concept of beauty. Of course, when we talk about beauty, it's a kind of a very controversial type of concept, and it's defined in different ways. But in Islam, actually, we have very clear standard for this one. When the Prophet ﷺ said the famous hadith, "In Allah Jamilun yuhibbul Jamal." Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is beautiful and He loves beauty, and He directed one of the companions to be taking care of himself, how he looks like, and this type of stuff. So this was a kind of a foundation of the concept of beauty in Islam. So beauty is not the beauty that will create or incite desires, but actually that will incite heart stillness and peace. Because if Allah's beauty and then we are looking into Him and focus on Him, then the peace should come to your heart on this part. So this is how Islam envisioned this type of that the eye and the heart and the mind encounter the sacred through created forms. So these forms are created to encounter the sacred, so try to understand it and to try to feel it. This is a hadith that I mentioned. It's a very famous hadith narrated by Muslim. And as I mentioned, this is considered by many the foundation of the Islamic theory about beauty, if we can call it like this. Also, there is a very interesting concept in Islam which does not appear in any other theories or philosophies. When we the beauty, because the beauty, Allah is the beauty, so scholars classified the three main categories of the attributes of God. So these three main categories is the beauty, the majesty, and perfection. So Jamal, Jalal, and Kamal. These three manifestation of the beauty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created also the whole concept of Islamic art. So when we look at architecture, I will not be able to go through many things now, so I will just mention quickly here. When we go to architecture, you can find in the architecture, the Islamic architecture, the beauty and also the majesty, and also a kind of a try to reach the perfection in it. When you try to look at also the music that is created by many through the history, and I heard a lot of very insightful discussion on music today. And one of my actually wishes is, I'm not sure if everybody knows that Al-Farabi has a very big book on music. It's called The Big Book of Music. This one is edited and published in Arabic almost 50 years ago. And the book is huge. It's about 1,000 pages. And I think this can be a good foundation for anybody who would like to study music within the context of Islamic context. So these three dimensions, these three attributes actually clarify all the things that Islamic has created: architecture, calligraphy, music, everything. So these need to be demonstrated in this. Why? Because it's coming from the concept of beauty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The history, I will not go through the history. It's there is a lot of things here, but I will go also to the concept of Tawheed, which is the basis for all of this. The concept of Tawheed is very clear in Islam. So there's no God but Allah, and Muhammad ﷺ is His messenger. This is very clear. But in the same time, when we talk about Asma'ullah al-Husna, we are talking about the manifestation of Allah in different attributes, in the multiplicity of attributes. This is why most of the people who are talking about the Islamic arts, they have a very nice way to present it. So they say Islamic arts means all the multiplicity of this will point to one. In Cameron, when he talked about the Clintonian music now, it was very interesting that part of it is people were pointing up to unity, something like this. And the same thing also if people have seen the dervish dances by Rumi followers in Turkey up till now, it actually have the same similar expression, in fact. And it will be very interesting to compare between the Clintonial approach and also the Rumi dancing approach, because I think there is a lot of commonality in the two concepts. But the idea of that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is one, and he is demonstrated to his servant in multiple attributes. The also Islamic art have the same projection. So it's all the arts will point to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and vice versa. And also we have a kind of an infinite type of variety from simple roots. So we have infinite type from variety from simple roots. As we will see for the arabesque, for example, we have this type of repetition that people knows, and many other things, vegetation type of thing, vegetal infinity. It's actually all the arabesque is a kind of a embodiment of the Islamic concept of art. Arabesque is an embodiment of Islamic concept of art. So number one, it is infinite. Infinite means you are looking at things again and again and again. It's repeating itself. It's repeating itself, but still very beautiful. Still very beautiful. So there is no end to it. The Western art in general has a kind of a narrative approach. So if anybody have looked at the famous drawings by many people, from Michelangelo to other people, it's always narrative. So the Last Supper, for example, or whatever it is. So you will find the portrait or the drawing will tell a story, and there is a beginning and end for this story. And there is a beginning and end for this story. But for Islamic art, no, we don't have this. We don't have this. We have a kind of a repeated form, And this repeated form also is very much influenced by mathematical precision. And this is why many of the great scholars of Islam has been doing. Al-Farabi himself is a mathematician, and at the same time also he is a great musician. The same thing also about Umar Khayyam, the famous mathematician, is a great mathematician and also a musician at the same time. And Ibn Sina, the same thing. So all of those guys understood this relationship between the mathematical precision and also the concept of infinity in the Islamic arts. And this is why also Ghazali, Abu Hamid, he in fact, when he defined beauty, he actually got it from the same beginning that we mentioned now. So Ghazali described beauty as that which produces stillness in the soul. Arabesque achieves this exactly, and it's a contemplative type of thing. This is completely opposite from what we call beautiful for the great things that has been done by the Greek or the Romans. You'll find that all of them actually, without any exception, will focus on the human body, whether it's a male human body or a female human body. So as one of the great scholars once talked to me, he said, they are geometrically locked. Means they are locked in a certain geometry. They cannot go out of it. But Islam is not locked in the geometry. It's a kind of an infinite geometry, which is a very, very nice expression in art and mathematics at the same time. So we have this type of geometric patterns that we know. And this concept of geometric patterns came because of the Islamic ruling in many things. So the Prophet ﷺ was very clear that there is no idols anymore. And this is why we have a very clear statement about that. We cannot create a human body with a sculpture or anything like this, or even an animal, full animal, not a toys animal. And this type of thing. So this made the Muslim artist go into a wider space, a more, in fact, infinite space of creation. This is why sometimes when people say, oh, okay, Islam restricted art, actually, no. In fact, if we look very carefully, Islam did not restrict art. Islam actually opened the door to arts not to be locked in the human body, not to be locked in the human body, because most of the heritage of art up to this moment, even up to the modern moment, is locked on the human body. But Islam opened the door for other things, for many other things. Infinite variation of geometric expressions, infinite variation of geometric expression. And this type of repetitive idea of the geometric expression also very similar to the zikr type of things, because in zikr we repeat. So it's also inspired by this concept, Here, there's many types of geometric patterns that are created in the Islamic architecture. I think you can look into it. I will not go also in too much details here. This will have a lot of time because the time is very limited. And also, this created a whole field, which now many famous physicists like Penrose and other people actually were connecting this, and this is why people talk about now the mathematics of the sacred, and interestingly, Muslims have produced this one very early. When we look at the Persian, famous Persian craftsmanship, you can see that this type of repeated pattern of tiles, whenever you see it on a carpet, whenever you see it on anything like this. And the same thing also, the Islamic craftsmanship intuitively applied all 17 wallpaper symmetry groups, which has been way before the 19th century when mathematicians talked about the theory of groups. So there, and the same thing also when we look at majority of the mosques that has been produced in the Islamic history. Unfortunately, the modern one, they are not following this, but the historical one, they are following this. We will find this golden ratio applies in all the design of the mosques. Very unfortunate that we didn't have people writing down what they were doing and how they were doing it, but we can always look at it and learn out of it. So this relation between mathematics and the sacred, because also Muslims, we know this, the history of mathematics in Islam is very prominent, is very prominent. Even one of the great mathematician of our modern time in UK, he has a history book about mathematics. He said, no civilization produced a great number of mathematicians during their time more than the Islamic civilization. So everybody agrees on this. Why? Because people saw mathematics is quote unquote the language of God. So this precision, this perfection, this type of precision and perfection, and this was reflected in art and also music and other things. Calligraphy is also another thing, and the issue of calligraphy also, there is a historical or even a theological base for this. We have one surah in the Quran named by Al-Qalam, Surah Al-Qalam, and this is very interesting. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this surah swear by Qalam. So it's very interesting how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala pointing to us the concept of writing and the concept of pen. And there is one hadith that the first thing that God created was the pen, though some people might debate the authenticity of the hadith, but it's in the classical Islamic books. So calligraphy became also a spiritual practice. It became a spiritual practice, not only a beautiful practice, but it is a spiritual practice. So Muslims created different types of lines or forms, the Kufi, the Naskh, Thuluth, and all this type of stuff. I will not be able to go through all of them now, because of the time. So, but all this creation.
You got 2 minutes.
I know. Yes. I'm running. I'm running. And we can see that many of the creative arts that has been done by Muslim artists were based on huruf, based on letters. And we have plenty of books, and some of them actually in a stack. And I was very not happy when I didn't find many people are interested to edit and produce these manuscripts in a stack about huruf to the public. Some of them are written in Malay, some of them are written in Arabic and Persian. So I think this is a great heritage that we need to look at and we need to produce. And always Muslims have looked at the letters as having secrets behind it. It's not only a letter. It's not only something we express ourselves when we talk or we write. No, it has secrets behind it. And there's plenty of discussion on this matter. This is illuminated manuscripts. I will finish by here. This is actually almost less than half of whatever I wanted to present. The mosque as a cosmic map. The mosque as a cosmic map. Also, we don't look at this, unfortunately. When the Muslim architects start to create the mosque in the form that we know now, that we inherited, so everything has a spiritual dimension of it. The minaret is up there, so this is ascending to God. We ascend to God actually through the minaret. The dome will represent the heaven that will be above the worshippers who are praying. Mihrab will represent the Qibla, and the way it is concave space means that it is actually as if it's absorbing the people who are praying into it. The courtyard of all the mosque historically having gardens and water fountains and light, so this was representing paradise. The Muqarnas vault, the honeycomb type of vaults that we have, also gives a kind of a weightlessness. So when you are in the mosque, you don't have weight, you don't have the material weight. You throw it before you enter the mosque. So the mosque as a cosmic map is a very interesting concept, and yes, some people study it, and unfortunately very little people study it in the Muslim world, but more studies in fact in the West on this one, though we should be the people that we understand what exactly this going about. So this is just a quick thing on whatever I wanted to cover. As I mentioned, I prepared a very long type of thing. I thought the time would be longer, but I will stop here and thank you very much for your listening. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you very much, Prof. And for the rest, now we are coming to the time for discussions and comments and questions. If you have anything, we try to finish it by 11:30 because today is a Friday. So
are you not going to show Dr. Badri's?
We have already shared the link here in the chat because there is a sound problem. The Google doesn't support many features, no longer supporting many features. Yeah. Okay. So we have shared the link. If the audience are interested, maybe you can just download the link, Prof. Badri's presentation. So it is in the chat box. So please, if you have any questions and comments, you are most welcome. And please be very precise. Introduce yourself and your affiliation. I'm very sure there are many comments, many questions. Yes, Professor. Yeah, Professor Farmo. Yes.
A question for Cik Kamrul on the costume of the DK Barat Halakat, because they have Islamicized everything into urbanization, equates Islam. There's nothing wrong with that, but I'd like us to ponder deeper on this. Because the sound, the melody is still Hindustani, which is not like why Hindustani and not Arabic tune, that kind of thing, So that's quite curious for me, curiosity. Yeah.
Is it possible if I play the YouTube that the Imam gave to me so that maybe everybody can see and hear? Is it possible? I play.
How long is it?
It's about 5 minutes, but we can listen maybe less than
Maybe
that.
1 minute. No.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let me share. Tiga halakah.
But I'm not sure you will be able to share that. Okay.
Yeah, I can. Okay.
It's beautiful.
The song will be repeating verse chorus, something like that.
Cik Kamrul, maybe I can, I think it's interesting also, but you know, it's one way of preserving our heritage, definitely. And I think also, what's this, really looking at the situation in Kelantan. So this is one way that you can, you know, sort of like continue the arts, yeah. But I'm thinking about the original tradition, yes, and you know, I think also something has to be done to preserve that as well, because here when I'm looking at this performance, I'm listening to it, I think it's, you know, it's not, I don't feel the soul of DK Barat. And I remember, you know, I attended, you know, I went to your village. Remember there was well, not a performance, it was a, you know, all those children and adults all sitting down in the, you know, the picture that you showed just now, you know, the traditional way of doing DK Barat. And you can just see, you know, the communal, you know, strength there. And then this is sort of like a performance where everybody sort of like is staged. So, I mean, is this the soul of DK Barat? So, I don't know. So, what are your thoughts on that?
Actually, because of, I think one of the reason why I'm here in UiTM and I'm pursue my master degrees and PhDs, because of in my area there's none There's none of researcher who are doing this to preserve, to do a research, because of this is most important, because of not the art. Actually, the traditional Kelantanese art is different than others, because of they are not only involve the performance entertainment itself. They are related to mengenal diri, know us, and mengenal Allah, the God. Because of we are calling the performance, it's not performance or persembahan. We call it mind dikir, mind roya, mind teri. So we are actually not doing show off, something like that. So because of the economically, and then because of the religion, the politics actually, that's makes the arts twist, because of they are doing to perform because of the profession, because of the money, economy. They need to survive. Then they have to create something. Originally, the performance, or we call it mind, that's not involve money. Not involve money at all. We perform because of kerana Allah, because of we go there because of the muamalat. We perform because of bersaing. The word is bersaing, because of we want to do more friendship, and then to know each other better. Then sometimes when I go to another village, they have dikir barat. We just go there, perform, and then they give makan, not give money. Then after that, we sharing, actually. Sharing of our problem. When we meet together, we are sharing our problem to find a solution. For example, kalau seorang, we have difficult to solve our problem, then we have two. That also make another problem. That's why most of the people are bercerai, divorced, because of they are not really understand each other. Apatah lagi, more than 2, 3, 4, 20s. There's a lot of other things. But when they have understand about togetherness, sharing things, so the life become more happier, actually. They have consideration. They have in my kampung, actually we are a family. We are as a family. So if you don't have money, so sometimes we donate, or we just go to anybody yang kaya kat kampung, who the rich guy, we can just sedekah or something like that. Then makan also same. So those days we don't have any other thing. We just tanam padi. We have a paddy field, that we also have a chicken. We have food. We're not depending to others. We are collaborate. We are depending to the community. So even myself, I'm being brought up with the communities. I cannot do anything wrong, because of when I go to Dikir Barat group, for example. The Dikir Barat leader knows me, knows my father, knows everything. Then when I go to other playing or whatever I do, they already know each other. So I cannot do wrong, because of those days there's no telephone. So if I do wrong, that means my parents know already. So that's how we are abroad in community awareness of that we are as a close family, even though we are not related to close lah, saudara mara. They actually sometimes a few kampung they are related, but some they are not really related. But because of they are understand the importance of understanding the how to live in togetherness, something like that lah. Maksudnya hidup bersama. So itu yang I nampak. Tapi disebabkan kerana politic, right? Actually the politic thing, that the economy thing, so they need to do something. Popularity, and so
Can I
yeah, that,
suggest that you discuss this or present this in a platform, Music and Culture, or the ICTM platform? Because I think this is something something important that needs to be discussed, and in terms of policy paper and things like that.
yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there any other questions or comments?
Yeah. Can I ask a question, Dr. Wahid?
Yeah, please. Yeah.
To Prof. Ramona, it's very interesting that you presented on sort of the Islamic perspective of music, and yet you said that it shouldn't be labeled as Islamic entertainment or Islamic music, right? For sustainability's sake. I mean, I've also been promoting Islamic advertising, for instance, and I realize that when you go down in, you mix with practitioners, they get a little bit intimidated by Islamic advertising, right? They cannot picture it. They even ask me, is there such a thing? Right. So instead, and then I realized that perhaps calling it ethical advertising is better rather than calling it Islamic. But of course, the worry is when we call it ethical, whose ethics is it going to be following? That's the worry, because there are different types of ethics in this world, and we are more specific in terms of Islamic ethics. So there's that, dilemma, I suppose. But I'm very interested to know why you feel that for sustainability's sake, it should not be labeled as Islamic. Entertainment should not be labeled as Islamic. Thank you.
No, my issue was not in Islamic, it was in entertainment. Yes, so I'm saying that actually we shouldn't label, and we should not have a label of Islamic entertainment, because entertainment in and of itself is already it has questionable status for us, the practitioners. Are you talking about practitioners? And entertainment is questionable also in Islam, because there's what kind of entertainment are we talking about? So the issue is actually on entertainment. So as a practitioner, again, I was an administrator for many years. Basically, we work very hard. The music people, people in the arts, work very hard to get non-music people to think of music as not entertainment, because what is promoted by the media, and in most cases, is actually music entertainment. Music is entertainment. So when music is thought of as only or merely as entertainment, then it has people don't take music seriously, not as a knowledge, not as a field of learning, not as something that's Islamic even, for that matter. So for example, I've organized lots of press conferences, because we're talking about press also here. We want to launch the Malaysian Association for Music Education, or we want to have a keroncong on seminar, etc. So the first thing press will ask, which artist is going to be there? Who is the artist involved? So there's that sense of sensationalism, and it's so attached to music. So if we want we want music to be taken seriously. It's a field of knowledge. Yeah. People study and do PhDs, and I mean, it's a field of learning, just as, anything, engineering or whatever subject is. And so we have to, we want to move away from entertainment, because right now, not even right now, I mean, in our culture, especially with the predominance of pop culture, people look at music as just entertainment. So that's the issue. And so when we call ourselves, or we have an Islamic entertainment, so we're actually, throwing ourselves open to even more criticisms, because there's a lot of issue with regards with the status of music in Islam. So we don't want to highlight the entertainment, the entertaining and pleasurable parts of music, which is actually one of the You know, one of the roles of music is to entertain, yes, but that should not be the predominant and the only role that people see, or the only purpose people think music has. Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Uh,
Thank you.
Prof. Farida, you want to say something? Unmute, Prof.
Prof. Nofarida, can you unmute, please? We can't hear
Unmute,
you.
yeah.
All right. Sorry. I think the issue is not about the labeling or the challenges that it might attract, or the threats it might attract. But I think the whole issue, and I think we argued this in our cluster, in our workshops, it's about redefining what entertainment is. Because in the past, entertainment includes playing chess, swimming, archery, and it's just not for leisure. It's also for fitness. You know, strong ummah is a fit ummah, that kind of thing. So that definition of what entertainment should not be narrowed down to just leisure. Yeah, that's my take on this. I would take the clusters. Thanks.
Okay. One more question, because we are up now. We are 11:20. So.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Yes.
I'm Dr. Shahidul Haq from Bangladesh. Just
Okay,
I want to add one point only. Let's say we use another term, edutainment. That means we are giving education with entertainment. So we don't say relitainment, but the meaning of Islamic entertainment means even entertainment, but with the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Also maintaining the ibadah, all this. So according to my understanding, I mean, even entertainment, even Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam did some mazah. I mean, the jokes with young people, even the old lady, you know, all this. So I understand, Prof. I mean, both sides, but I think it's okay even if we promote Islamic entertainment. That means entertainment with the guidelines of Islam. Okay, another issue, just on suggestion to Prof. Aida. He's my professor also when I was studying in IIUM. Prof, you mentioned the challenges of Islamic entertainment, but please mention how to overcome the challenges in your article or in your future research. For example, you mentioned that, okay, the financial challenge, also the secular performers, they perform a lot of programs, but why not Islamic performers? Okay, so how to overcome this? Because this type of program you are organizing to promote Islamic entertainment. So please suggest the policymakers, the academicians, the industrialists, so that Islamic entertainment can be promoted. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. Prof. Aida?
Yes. It's whenever you talk about Islam entertainment or Islamic advertising, or there's always an industry that's involved, right? And like Cik Kamrul was saying, people are making money out of the entertainment that they give. So making sure that it's ethical and so forth is very important as well. Yeah? And yes, we can suggest, of course, but I think, Prof. Nofarida, we need to also meet up, isn't it, with people from the industry. I mean, this is one of the platforms that we've started off with in terms of, we've met with other academicians as well, and Cik Kamrul is doing his PhD in the field of music. So the thing is, I think we should perhaps meet up with people in the industry as well and discuss about how, sort of the ideals from the academic perspective, because the academic perspective is more into, of course, the ideals. So practitioners could be more into, this works, this kind of entertainment works, but whether it's ideal or not, whether it should be carried out in the way it's carried out. Like when I was mixing with a media person, a media officer, he said, okay, we put an advertisement of a sexy lady on social media because the rules, the regulations are not strict there. And we need more followers. We need more sales. And we put, a more dignified lady in an ad on TV, for example, because the rules are more strict. Now, this is a person working in a media organization saying this, and it's a Muslim. So it's very concerning for me that there is no idea or no talk about what kind of woman should be portrayed, isn't it? I mean, a dignified person, obviously, not a person who's pulling attention for the wrong reasons, right? That shouldn't be. And the fact that there's no reflection on his decision, whether it's the right decision or it's the wrong decision. So sometimes I feel that some practitioners, they do things that work or what the client wants because they're paid to do it. But have they actually thought about whether it is the right thing to do? So this is where academicians come in, and we have, sort of advice from our perspective. This is the right thing to do because, of course, research says that you could impact the audiences in a bad way. We don't want our children to see normalized visuals of sexy ladies, isn't it? Or gayism, isn't it? Right? We don't want to normalize these images. This is not what we want them to practice. So the thing is, it's education. It should be educational. What is ideal, in a way, without being too preachy. I think for some audiences, when you are too preachy, people may be turned off a bit. Yeah, so it depends on their religiosity as well. So that's the thing. Yeah, I think Shahid, we need to write more. Triple IT asks us to write more on the Islamic perspective of everything. Inshallah.
Can I chip in on that also?
Yeah.
Actually, the whole project of 2077 started because Almarhum Prof. Kamal wanted to push this agenda to the government. We were doing that. So, Wahid, I think we need to follow up where we're going with this project now that Prof. Kamal is no longer here. But his ambition, his intention, we have to follow through. Once the books are done, we have to see the respective agencies and ministries to push up for this, even JAKIM. JAKIM has already gotten the guidelines, what is Islamic or not for music, for sports even. So I think it should cover also advertising, Dr. Aida, because the guideline is there. If we can also push that agenda, it should cover.
Yeah. The thing is, people are questioning the role of JAKIM because it's a department, isn't it? Right? CMCF is promoting the contact codes because there is a law that is backing it. There's the Communications and Multimedia Act. But with JAKIM, people are sort of questioning it because there's no legal sort of backing. And they're questioning JAKIM. I have done focus groups with JAKIM, and I feel that JAKIM needs to have more teeth and more, it's very timid. The JAKIM reps in my focus group was very timid. In fact, the advertising practitioners were stronger in their, opinions, and the JAKIM reps were very timid. So, and as you can see through one of the articles was saying, these are just guidelines, meaning to say there's no real, legal way, there's no obligation to follow them. They're simply, this JAKIM rep was saying, they're simply guidelines, as though, follow them or not. It's kind of, that's how you feel, that's how I feel. They're not a very strong department because of people are asking, sort of questioning their role and stuff like that. Yeah. Their authority. Are they an authority? Do people have to go through them to get anything approved? Isn't it? Right? Before TV ads are sent out to ad on television, of course, you need to get the Film Censorship Board's approval, isn't it? Right? So is there any authoritative role in terms of JAKIM? Because it seems that they come in and leave whenever Astro finds them to be important for a religious program.
Advertisement on cigarettes and alcohol, why can't that be applied to Islamic elements as well? I mean, who does the banning of rokok, cigarettes and alcohol in advertising? Do you know?
Well, I mean, CMCF does have regulations, right? And then the media vehicles would have, would be would consider or not according to the law and the content code and whatnot. But the thing is, it's more than that, isn't it? It's not only the cigarettes, it's not only the alcohol, it's not only the pop products. It's a lot more than that. It's entertainment is so big, so to monitor every single thing, it is difficult. That's why you have the content code. The content code is self-regulatory, meaning to say we don't censor, but if there's a problem, then you can complain and the content forum will do something. So it's more reactive. It's not like the traditional media where the, LPF has its own guidelines, RTM has its own guidelines, right? As what you can air, what you cannot air. So the media vehicles themselves could control that. And of course, there's also the content code, but that is more self-regulatory, meaning to say they don't censor. They trust that the industry is mature enough to come up with responsible content. But if there's a problem, you complain, then they can do something.
All right, I think
Yeah.
we are approaching the end of the program, and then that is a very good discussions, because I think if you, Prof, you remember, we agreed that this future studies actually is not cannot be treated as one of the exercise or fixed blueprint. We have to always, it is an ongoing process of learning, anticipation, and adjusting, and also looking at the context, because socially, politically, technologically, things are changing. So we need to revisit. So there are countries, of course, they are more advanced, like Sweden. I don't know whether still they have it or not. They have a Minister of Future, So they are doing this kind of exercise. So Vision 2077, even I remember, Prof. Kamal, Allah yarham Prof. Kamal, he was advising us, at least there is a blueprint, but in the course of time, we need to revisit all this planning and all these, whether, what are the things that we need to change. So that's good things. That's a very good discussions today. And I remember, I think other cluster, the economic cluster, Prof. Aslam, they have already initiated also other discussions on economy. Hopefully, other clusters also follow your step about this. So this is maybe we can have next time physical. We can bring more scholars and more people here, and then we can have the physical event. And then even we can have a performance. Last night I'm part of a project initiated by one professor from Germany, Beyond Border. This project, he started 1 year ago. So he invited me, and also I'm part of this project. There are many people. There are artists, musicians. So last night, I talked about Tawhidic epistemology, because he heard about this, and then he asked me to, what is that, what is Tawhid, and how Tawhid is related to the imagination. And there was one musician, his name is Lasse. He actually play out some musical instrument, related, to this, It's very beautiful. Actually, we can have the same thing like that to this kind of work. So Alhamdulillah, we come to an end to this seminar. So I would like to express my sincere gratitude to all of you, the distinguished speakers, for their valuable insights, experiences, reflections on this very important topic, the future of the Islamic entertainment. So I'm very sorry due to the limitation of time, because today is Friday, we need to prepare for this. So may Allah guide us to our talents, creativity, knowledge in ways that benefit the humanity and bring us closer to Him, inshallah. Jazakumullahu khairan.
Thank you.
So, Prof. Aida,
Yeah.
back to
I'm
you.
ending. Thank you so much, Dr. Wahid. So we've learned a lot from several perspectives. We agree that we've got to redefine entertainment and make it more mainstream, isn't it? Yeah, make it more mainstream instead of having the more religious people to see it as being a form of education, isn't it? For not only for leisure, I suppose, but we need to get the mainstream to see entertainment as being important as a means of learning something from the lessons that are conveyed through the content, entertaining content. So we've got to make it more mainstream, actually. Okay, thank you so much. Let's end with Surah Al-As and Tasbih. Thank you so much for coming. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Thank you, Prof.
Terima kasih.
Thank you,
Terima kasih.
Prof. Ramona. Terima kasih, Cik Kamrul.
All the
Terima
best.
kasih, Dr. Wahid. Terima
Assalamualaikum.
kasih, Dr. Wan
Thank you,
Jamalia
Prof.
and friends. My
Bye.
students, Dr. Shahid. Bye-bye. Salam.
Shukran, Prof. Jazakumullah. Bye.